Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Israel Madrimov gets a hero's welcome in Uzbekistan despite losing his WBA 154-pound title to Terence Crawford weekend gone. Terence won a unanimous decision, but Madrimov, in a technical fight, he showed us what he can do. Some people had it close. I didn't have it that close. He put up a very good battle. The government of Uzbekistan has gave him a new apartment in appreciation for his efforts. So what's next for Madrimov? He has no title, but Boots Ennis said he could stop him inside the distance, and he'd like to get the heads up on Terence Crawford, and that would be quite a flex. The fight can happen, they're both for MATCHROOM. Who would like to see it?
You know, moving up to 54, any thoughts of wanting to challenge Madrimov?
Who?
Boots.
Oh, yeah, once we get up there, yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
How does that look?
Well, I see Boots stopping Madrimov, man.
Big up Boots, good fighter. But he's only got his first title via email, if you like, this year. And he's been a pro nearly 9 years. He debuted at 143. So he's been at welter a long time. He's 27. So that jump up to fight Madrimov or whoever, surely it can't be that far off. I don't want to see Boots lose his belt and then him and his dad in making excuses. Yeah, we stayed too long at 147. I don't want to hear that. Because looking at Boots throughout the build-up and during the Avanesian fight, he looked exceptionally big for a welterweight.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Gotcha. That's a still. That's a serious still. Crawford got Boots on that one. Got him on that one. That's some archive shit. Boots looking goofy. He looked starstruck when he saw Terence. I think this was on par, maybe even worse than when Danny Jacobs confronted one of the Charlo brothers. If the picture could speak, Terence looked like he's saying, yo, where's all that shit you was talking? You know what I mean? And Boots can't say he was caught off guard. He knew he was main event, and there was a good chance he'd bump into Crawford.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Canelo told Eddie Hearn, you've been calling my name all week. Eddie said, we got to call your name to sell the show. Terence Crawford took offense to that.
Canelo, he got a fight coming up, so I never want to make it about me and Canelo. Just like when I was getting ready for my fight, I felt it was disrespectful for Eddie Hearns to lie and say, oh, we had to use your name to promote the fight. You know, we didn't use Canelo's name to promote shit.
Well, he's trying to stay friends with him. He's trying to stay friends with him.
No, but it was he trying to stay friends with him, but it's disrespectful to me.
And that's a bitch move. Something that a homo
promoter
would do.
Yeah, I agree with cannabis. That's a bitch move, Eddie. And inadvertently, Eddie didn't diss Terence Crawford. If Terence thinks about it, Crawford's not signed to Eddie. You know what Eddie dissed? He dissed Madrimov, the fighter who's signed to him. That's who he dissed. I had to use your name to sell my fighter's fight because nobody fucking knows him. And when Eddie says we had to use Canelo's name, Canelo said you, not Madrimov, because he can't speak much English, and certainly not Bud Crawford. Eddie. Yeah, you. He comes out looking like the sucker in all of it. Look weak, look weak, look weak. And when Eddie said it, yeah, Canelo, yeah, I think so. Anyone else not a fan of this English-speaking Canelo who wants to talk a lot more now?
Yeah, motherfucker, son of a bitch.
I mean, Eddie just buckled as soon as Canelo said it. He just buckled, sold out his fighter to stay in Canelo's good books. Whether the fight lost 10 million or not, I don't know, yeah? There was no need to use Canelo's name to sell anything, yeah? That was Eddie's insecurity and Eddie's desperation to still promote Canelo because the Berlanga fight's next with Canelo, even though Eddie is not promoting Canelo in this fight. Although it's hard to tell the way he's polishing off Canelo's nuts at times. Maybe Berlanga needs to check Eddie on that bullshit. Whose back you got? Mine or Canelo? If anything, he done the Madrimov-Crawford fight a disservice, using Canelo's name so much. Even the whole pajama shirt thing. He got that from Canelo, didn't he? Surprised he didn't try to get Madrimov and even Crawford to wear them.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Upset alert? I don't want to go there yet. But there are concerns for Joshua BUATSI, as far as I'm concerned. 2 videos I saw today. They're asking him about Anthony Yarde, who said recently he's the A-side, as Yarde and Tunde always say. And there's BUATSI, well, All you got to do is look at the rankings. I'm number one, this, that. There's no need to argue. And he's right. But he needs to be shutting down the Anthony Yarde Association. And then in another interview, he said he's still talking to Yarde about making the fight. If it plays into Willie Hutchinson's hands, that he's overlooking Willie possibly, looking at this Yarde fight, he's going to look stupid. It's going to look stupid. He better not be overlooking Willie Hutchinson. Forget about Anthony Yarde until Anthony Yarde can get his situation sorted. Until you get this Willie Hutchinson fight out the way. One fight at a time. It's alright for Yarde to play mind games because he doesn't have a date or an opponent locked in that he has to be focused on. Joshua BUATSI does. This needs to be strictly Willie Hutchinson. No more Yarde talk. Shut off the Yarde talk. In the interview I saw today, BUATSI even admitted that Willie beat Craig Richards in a better fashion than he did. And let's not forget, Willie's already pulled off a big Riyadh season upset, outpointing Craig Richards. On my YouTube poll, he was the biggest underdog on all the polls I took. 5 versus 5, MATCHROOM versus Queensbury. Was it 90% to 10? Yeah, BUATSI could be next. Look, that's another video. That's 3 videos today. I found another one. 3 videos today with Anthony Yarde's name in the title. That shouldn't be happening. Scheduling the fight for February is optimistic. Why are you so obsessed with Yarde right now? Be obsessed after you beat Willie Hutchinson. Forget Yarde.
Boxing. Beats and rhymes. Boxing. Beats and rhymes.
Right, the only reason that's not happening is because they don't want it to happen. You know, the fight's there. The fight's ready to be made. The money's there, the opportunity's there, fighting on a massive card. I don't know why they're not accepting the fight.
Nothing new. Them not saying nothing new. Nothing new. Same old shit. Like, Richard Riakporhe can say what he wants and Ben Shalom can say what he wants. They avoided Jai Pataya as a challenger, and Chris Billion-Smith is avoiding Jai Pataya in the unification. You know, Jai's made about 2 or 3 videos in the last couple of days, calling out Billiam Smith, asking what's happening, are we going to make the fight? Because Billiam said he was open to make the fight. He's not scared of Opatai, this, that, blah, blah. And there's Ben Shalom on the Pain Game with True Geordie and the Undefeated podcast with Trav and KG saying, yeah, I want to make a 5 versus 5 with Matchroom. He was a little inebriated, I think, you know what I mean? And, you know, he was trying to impress the lads and stuff, talking very bold. But when it comes down to getting busy, it's the same old. It's the same old thing.
Boxing. Beats and rhymes. Boxing. Beats and rhymes.
Honeymoon period is over. You know, like in this game, when you're new on the block, you ruffle feathers, you're going to upset certain parts of media and fan bases. And right now, the Canelo fanboys, and that's what I'm going to choose to call them, the fanboys, they're mad with Turkey. They're mad. You mad. Where'd you get Turkey doesn't know what he's doing. The Crawford Madrimov fight lost 10 million. What source is that coming from? Is that coming from Matchroom? Is that coming from Turkey? Where's it coming from? Well, according to what they said on Twitter, they've got the Super League over in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if Turkey's involved in that. And the Soccer League and the golf franchises they have over there are hemorrhaging much more money than boxing. He just wants to see Crawford in the best fights. That's all he wants to see. Turkey is basically a boxing fan who's putting on fights he'd like to see because he can. He has no obligation to suck up to Canelo. He's made Canelo a couple of offers, all of which Canelo has declined. You see, with Turkey doesn't care if you're supposedly a boring fighter or a runner or you don't sell. If you've worked your way up to champion status or top rank contender status, we need to get you in with the best fighter possible, champion or contender. That's what we need to do. That's what he's concerned about. If it was up to a lot of fanboys and media, the likes of Frank Sanchez would never have got a shot on the big stage, even though he's a ranked contender. How can you run a sport properly if you're going to select who can play from who can't? But, you know, a lot of these people are talking about who's an all-time great fighter. These are the terms they're using. They're using terms like pound for pound. They're going pound for pound, blow for blow. And when you're using pound for pound all-time great, we're going into Henry Armstrong, Sugar Ray Robinson territory. But yeah, the guys you're pushing up there don't want to take certain fights. Go look at Henry Armstrong's resume. You probably don't know it. I know it. No smoke is ducked. And a lot of people think that pound for pound started with Sugar Ray Robinson. The idea really started with Henry Armstrong because he held 3 titles at 3 different weights at one time. Featherweight, lightweight and welter. We're talking about a pound for pound all time great. Didn't duck no one. Crawford's fight lost 10 million. What is that relevant to, and in what conversation and context is that relevant to what's next for Terence Crawford or Canelo? Well, he can't sell. Name me any of Canelo's opponents apart from Floyd Mayweather, who is a big ticket seller or who does big pay-per-view numbers. Name one.
Look, man, Crawford just can't beat Canelo.
What, the same Canelo where I saw Amir Khan taking rounds off in the early stages? Crawford can't do nothing with that guy. Listening to the boxing voice, and I have to take into consideration that Nez was playing devil's advocate, yeah? And he was voicing what people on his channel were saying, that Turkey is not delivering the fights that they want. Yes, they got Fury versus Usyk, but we haven't got Bivol and Beterbiev, but didn't Beterbiev get injured? And it's rescheduled for October. Then he's talking about Canelo versus Benavidez. Well, Canelo's priced himself out. He opted to fight Charlo, Jaime, and Berlanga. And David's moved up to 175. I think, you're asking a little much for Turkey to fix American boxing, to keep it real, And then he spoke about Crawford versus Ennis. Bozy told you, I think it was on your channel, he said he's loyal to Showtime. He's not going to BLK Prime, where Crawford offered to make the fight. Then he's talking about Virgil versus Ennis. Isn't Virgil Ortiz on this fucking sick couch all the time? What, you expect Turkey to be his physiotherapist? Showtime, HBO have both left the game in America. Why did they leave? Because the math isn't adding up. So don't expect Turkey to fix everything overnight. Why wasn't the math adding up? Well, the promoters are not working together and the pay-per-views are overpriced. And it just wasn't a good product. You Canelo fans better hope that he doesn't touch the canvas against Berlanga. He doesn't even have to lose. Just an off day against a fighter that a lot of people didn't want to see him in the ring with. Just an off day. Same applies to Tank Davis. Couple of off days that will offset their next bag. Don't be shocked if they're more compliant and cooperative with Turkey. You know what I mean? Turkey's doing a good job. Turkey don't have to fix American boxing. Turkey's got territories all over the place. Watch our party over here, September the 21st, Wembley Stadium. I mean, you can throw the IBF title in as a selling point if you want, but we all know it was a token gesture from Alexander Usyk. Let's keep it real. But outside of that, 2 Londoners, high knockout percentages, great physiques, great punchers. Joshua, a great puncher and boxer. Joshua, his legacy, Dillian, Klitschko, Povetkin, and even his losing fights over here. Usyk has put on great nights of boxing in the United Kingdom, arguably making it the home of boxing, in my opinion. This fight epitomizes modern heavyweight boxing, British boxing, and Riyadh season. And America have got nothing to rival it right now. It epitomizes the British heavyweight scene that both men have come off bad losses, a couple of losses, but had the fortitude to redeem themselves. Can Deontay Wilder do that? Can Andy Ruiz come back? What about Jarrell Miller? Do you think they'll be back in the title shake-up? We'll see. What about Jaron Anderson? These guys are proving it. No hype job shit. It's an old school fight. And a lot of people don't have a connection to the old school. Or they wouldn't keep screaming, you can't sell, you're boring, to get their favourite fighters out of fights. They're not old school. They're not old school. Martin Bacoli can't sell out his basement. Who gives a fuck? This is a guy people want to see fight. Real boxing fans who want to see fight. They want to see him fight right now. Who gives a fuck what he can sell? Who gives a fuck? But don't worry, Turkey will handle it. Any ducking, Turkey will get him an opponent. A ranked opponent, a credible opponent, and hopefully a title shot eventually if he can keep winning. 2 stoppages on the bounce on Riyadh season, like Joshua and Daniel Dubois. Even if Canelo looks good against Berlanga, the fact is, time is running out. They wanted to see that Benavidez fight, and they're not getting that. I don't know if Benavidez gets back down to 168. But he can get away with not fighting Bud Crawford. Riyadh season started late last year. They've done one card in America and they expect everything to be fixed in America. After the networks, the promoters, and the media have destroyed their sport over there, you expect this Saudi Arabian gentleman to fix it all in one night. HBO and Showtime gone, Fox gone, Amazon Prime giving PBC a couple of dates. Now today I hear people complaining they put Turkey in the Nevada Hall of Fame on the strength of him putting together the first 4-belt undisputed heavyweight championship fight. Yeah, he probably should go in there. And on the efforts he's made to make all these fights and the cards he's putting on, yeah, he should go in there. Yeah, he should go in there. But because he's took their favourite son Canelo to task, they've got all this shit to talk about him. Tank Davis fans and Tank Davis friendly media, they don't like him. Why? Because he told Tank, I'll give you 2 boxing gloves rather than the 2 Ferraris Tank asked for. American boxing is rotten, so entitled. And the Canelo fan base, they're just stupid and immature.
Motherfucker, son of a bitch.
See, Frank Sanchez is a good example of what Turki ALALSHIKH is all about. We could have just kept calling him boring without knowing how good he was, because no one would step up and fight the guy. Or maybe he could earn this boogeyman reputation, which is way overused in boxing today. But Turki said no to none of that. No, you're not going to be no boogeyman. We're going to give you the big stage. We don't care if you're a pretty boy or not. We don't care if you don't sell. We don't care if they say you're boring. We're going to put you in with another highly ranked contender, and we're going to see what's up. And that's how it's supposed to go. Yeah? Whether they're supposedly exciting fighters, or supposedly boring, or supposedly boogeymen, A-siders, and cash cows. That's how it's supposed to go. That's the only way you can get a true pound-for-pound representation of the best fighters. That's the only way you can get acceptable sanctioning body rankings, weight class rankings, is the way Turkey approaches the sport. But American boxing is so corrupt and there's so much defense leagues for a certain amount of fighters. That's their worst nightmare. That this Saudi bag forces your favourite fighter with all the smoke and mirrors to show his true colours. Eventually Canelo is going to run out of options in terms of the PBC backing him with these guarantees, or Eddie Hearn sucking his whatever. Look, he'll either have to retire or he'll have to talk to Turkey. Tank Davis, we'll see. All it's going to take is an indifferent performance from either Tank or Canelo. And if Turkey plays the long game, we'll see who takes the Saudi bag or not. I'm not really interested in this power struggle that the Tank and Canelo fans are so fascinated with. Look, we don't need the bag. I'm not interested in that. I just want to see the best fights. I'm not interested. I don't want to vouch too much for Turkey because he hasn't been in the game that long. But from what I'm seeing, they don't want to deal with Turkey because they're going to have to take certain fights they don't want to take. There will be no rehydration clauses. No catch weights in their favour. No little tricks or anything like that. And they don't like that. There'll be no stalling the fight until it's convenient for them. None of that. But you know, the Tank and the Canelo fan bases, they're so happy that, yeah, look, our guys are so successful, they don't need Turkey. Well, Anthony Joshua is just as successful as them two. But he opts to fight on Riyadh season. Why? Because he wants to become undisputed champion. There's no doubt about that. He wants the big fights. And he knows the only way to make them fights is to stay where he is. How comes he's not jumping off the Riyadh season grid? Making all types of demands like, I need 2 Ferraris, give me 200 million for a fight, and all this shit here. How comes he's not doing that? Because he wants all the smoke. And he's obviously not looking to dodge nobody. Talking about fighters shouldn't let Turkey dictate who they fight or not. So we're going from calling out boxers for ducking fights to, oh, don't let no one dictate to you who you fight. What is it boxing fans want? Do they know? If the Saudis are spending all that money, of course they're going to want some quality control of who these guys fight. Why wouldn't they? And the fact that the likes of Anthony Joshua, a cash cow who could do what Canelo and Tank is doing, chooses to stay affiliated to the Riyadh season brand, tells me he's not afraid if they bring up a name and say, yo, this is the fight we want to make. He's not afraid of it. He's not running from it like Tank and Canelo. Imagine if other sports ran like that, like boxing. Oh, Tottenham have got to play Real Madrid next week. How dare you dictate who we play? We might not want to play them. We can't play them next week. We'll have to play them next year, but only at White Hart Lane. Just making all types of ridiculous demands. Of course Turkey and his people are going to get it wrong time to time. Of course they are, but more often than not, They've tried to make the best fights, and that's the bottom line. What everyone else is saying, they might think it's important, but to me, it's a load of bull fucking shit. He can't sell, he's boring, he's this, his face don't fit, we don't like him. Well, our guys just got this big endorsement deal. Turkey is ensuring you get your purse, what it's worth at market value. I know that's not 200 million for a Benavidez fight. I know that's not AKA Ferrari. You don't have to worry if you can't sell. You're going to get paid the purse you're supposed to get paid for the fights. And if you're this ATG, pound for pound, all this talk, what your fans are saying, it shouldn't matter if he runs or not, shouldn't it? You should be able to deal with it because you're all-time great. Apparently Canelo is Roy Jones. And apparently Tank Davis is the Roberto Duran. Why are you complaining if your opponent runs? But there they are demanding that their opponents stand right in front of them to get knocked about, or they want them to starve themselves to death. Always needing an advantage. And if they can't get that, they'll just fight some substandard opposition. These fanboys and these media fanboys, they want boxers to hold on to their unbeaten records and their so-called legacies forever. That's not what boxing's either about. If he's getting too much, you can retire. It's a difficult sport, you can retire. But when you're going to ask why Terence Crawford and David Benavidez can't sell, it's just a stupid question. Ezra Charles needed Joe Louis. Larry Holmes needed Ali. Floyd needed Oscar. AJ needed Klitschko. Wilder and Fury needed each other. You can't become a sellable fighter if somebody's holding on to their legacy or their unbeaten record for dear life, not fighting the guy the fans want to see him fight. That's not a flex, unless you're an extreme fanboy. Either pass the torch on, or keep it burning, or retire.